Hello, my friends. I do appreciate anyone that tunes in. I know it can be kind of challenging, maybe catching my lives and my video streams, because I do them when I am intuitively guided to do them. And that can make scheduling very challenging. Anyway, what we have today is an intro to human design and how truth plays a part in moving our energy. So, what you see here on the screen is my body design. This is the way that my body is designed to function. Or in human design, they call it the design view. So, where human design came from was from a guy named Ra. That is his name that he chose when he had his awakening. Ra, or Alan, typical country boy, not really interested in the esoteric or mesoteric or anything really spiritual. He didn't have a spiritual background, didn't really know much or really want much to do with it until he had an experience where for 3 days he had or heard a voice that gave him the information of human design. Human design is a synthesis of quantum physics, quantum mechanics, the Kabbalah, the ancient I Ching, and the Hindu chakra system. And as we have evolved, as we have awakened and become more aware, not just in the mind, but in the body as well. The body graph that you see here on the screen is or has two additional chakra centers. This right here is the G center, and just right here is the spleen center. So these two centers change us from a nine-centered being, or I'm sorry, a seven-centered being to a nine-centered being. Mm. And in that is so much to unpack, because this allows us to embody much more energy than we were ever able to before with just the seven centers. So these centers here, this is the head center, the ajna or third eye, the throat, the G center, the heart, the solar plex, the spleen, the root, or I'm sorry, the sacral, the root, and the spleen. Now, this design of my body says that my body is designed as what is called a reflector in human design. That's one of the types. And a reflector has all openness. That's all my body is open. I pull in all energy from my environment. So not only do I see in my mind, but I also feel in my body everything that's in my environment. That is why being in the correct environment for me is so vitally important. Because if I'm not, it's very detrimental to my physical, mental, and emotional health. So this is the first aspect of it. And these open centers here tell us how we pull in energy. And this also shows that we are conditioned by our environment. So those of us that have an open head up here, we pick up the mental pressure of the people around us. With an open third eye or ajna center, we pick up the mental concepts of the people around us. Open throat, we pick up the expression of the people around us. That is why, particularly for me in my design, it's vitally important that I hang around people that are upbeat, successful, and motivated, instead of hanging around people that constantly complain and belittle themselves and are in their unconscious. And then we have the open G center. The G center is all about love, identity, and direction. So my physical body has no real sense of identity, love, and direction. It pulls that from the environment to a degree until it gets combined with my personality or the mind, which we'll go into in just a moment. The heart center is all about willpower and the ego. My body pulls in the will of others so that I can taste it, test it, play with it, experiment. The solar plex center is the seat of the emotions. This is where we pull in the emotions. People that are highly empathic, I have found, usually have an open emotional center here. And each one of these centers has a different function. Some of them are motors, some of them are awareness, and some of them are projected centers that teach us how to utilize our energy efficiently and effectively. Very fascinating. So this is a brief overview of what the design body looks like. Let's go check out what the personality looks like. And it's loading, loading, loading. I do apologize for the wait. So now we start to have some definition. And what that means is you can see the colored in squares here. So I have a defined definition in the heart center and a definition in the spleen center. So that means right here that I have consistent access to these energy centers. I don't need anything outside of me to give me that energy. This is something that I can rely on. And you see that we have these numbers here. Each one of these numbers correlates to a specific planet and its placement. And when we think about this, it's very important to understand that the planets do have a subtle influence over us, on us. And one of the most fascinating things about human design is the neutrino stream, or neutrino stream. We became aware of the stream back in the early mid 20s, I believe. Okay, we're gonna well, pull them out, let them cool for a minute. With that, we are able. Hey Beth, thank you so much for tuning in. Always aim to keep it real. These energy centers here, you see how they form this channel, and that gives me the channel of surrender. So when I want to utilize my energy efficiently, I need to be able to surrender to what it is that it wants to do. And sometimes that's completely just crazy to me. Some of the things that I have engaged in, and that's not anything bad. A great example is last summer. The only thing that I really wanted to do, the thing that just lit me up and sounded so fun, was to go stand in the water. I live in Michigan, around the 5 Great Lakes, and just read my book while standing in the water and recite some of the incantations aloud while I did it. Have no idea why. Don't really need to. All I know is that's what I wanted to do, so that's what I did. And I could feel my heart open up and expand as I did that. That's how I know I was using that energy efficiently and correctly. And this gives us a basic circuitry overview of how our energy works. Now we have the two combined together that gives us our quantum view, or the most holistic view that we can engage in. So now you see the complete view of my body graph. And when the mind and body become one, it changes completely from a reflector in my body. My mind is that of a splenic projector. When those two come together, they create a pure generator. Generators have life force energy and vitality. What that means is generators are designed to to respond from the sacral center. And that response gives us all the energy we need for whatever task that we have. Hey, Scott, thanks for tuning in. So, what this means is when I get a response, someone asks me a question, my gut will go, uh huh. or uh-uh. When it goes what that feels like, the physical or visceral sensation in my body, it starts in the center just below my belly button at the sacral, and it moves outward. It expands. When it's a it moves inward. It starts in the center and it moves inward, and it kind of wants to contrast or like close itself off. And the more that I tune in and listen to my gut, the more deconditioning I go through. I decondition the centers of all the things that I picked up in my life and the various auras that I've been playing in, the people that are around me, so that I have a better sense of what is really my energy versus what is somebody else's energy that I'm simply picking up. And you can see how each gate or each little circle here are the gates that the planetary influences move through. Circle back to the Newtonian stream. When we became aware of that stream around the 20s, we didn't really know what it was. And it wasn't until, I believe, the early 2000s that we discovered that that neutrino stream is just a stream of energy that moves through the entire cosmos, and it moves through every planet. And the most fascinating thing about this, my friends, this is so cool, is that it has mass, and it moves faster than the speed of light. And that completely shattered our view of the standard Newtonian physics. Because in Newtonian physics, it says anything that has mass cannot move faster than the speed of light. We didn't think it was possible until we found the Newtonian stream. Einstein himself was aware of this, and he called it spooky action at a distance, because no one really knew how it worked or what its purpose was. So this stream moves through each of the planets, picking up little bits of information, and then it moves into our sun. And then the sun shines that energy down into the earth and through us. So, and this is a constant stream that's constantly moving. So we literally are in a constant stream of energy that is being fed from the galaxy through all the planets, coming into our sun, and then being projected onto us to give us life. And that is where the time of our birth is important when studying things like this, because this tells us the exact position and the influence that is unique to us. And this is all about our uniqueness. What is it that we have that we can share with the collective? Our unique skills and gifts. And the reason I titled this, How Does Truth Help Us Move Our Energy? Any place or time we feel stuck is because we are fundamentally lying to ourselves. There's something that we refuse to face. And in that lying to ourselves, we feel stuck because the lying keeps the energy from moving. I invite you to try this simple exercise. Take a deep breath, hold at the top of your lungs, and as you breathe out, let it make a natural noise, natural sound. And just feel that relaxation. Now say something you know to be true. The sky is blue, your name, this is something you know to be true. Pay attention to the sensations in your body. Now, speak something you know to be a lie. Doesn't matter what it is, just speak it out loud. And again, pay attention to how you feel or the sensations in your body. If you practice this, you'll begin to notice that truth feels expansive, feels open. A lie feels restrictive and closed off. That's truly amazing. It is that simple. And that's really what human design is. It is a binary system, a this or a that, a yes or a no, black and white. As a generator, when I have the energy for something, I can do that thing effortlessly until all of that energy is used up. And I'm designed to do that. Now, the challenge with being a generator is that I may not always know what it is that I'm going to engage in. And that can really mess with the head, especially when it comes to finances and working. Get so caught up that we jump into things that are not meant for us. And it causes all kinds of frustration and chaos in our lives because we didn't respond from our authority, which is what this is called in human design. Our inner authority teaches us how we're able to respond. So this right here, the more that I've leaned into that, the more that I practiced that, tuned into my gut just by breathing and being still and present, the more that I am able to access that effortlessly and bring that about into the real world where I can use it to help people. I'm all about healing and helping people move forward. That is part of my purpose. And human design tells us that too. There is so much information in this little chart. So the type is, my type is a generator. There's manifesting generators. They are projectors, reflectors, and then manifestors. Those are the different types of auras in human design. And each one of us fall in one of those categories that tells us how our aura is uniquely designed to function. Next, we have the profile. When we're looking at the profile, we can think of it as the coat that we wear. So if we have divine energy, right? Just divine consciousness that comes into a lifetime and then puts on a coat so that it can interact with the collective. My profile is that of a 1-3, the investigator martyr, or the investigator experimenter. The line ones tell us how we are designed from when we're born to about 50 years old. And then from 50 on to the rest of our lives, we move into the second part, the experimenter. As I'm 41, I'm moving into that transitionary stage where I'm going to start embodying more of my experimentation. And I see that very prevalent in my life. And more importantly, the profile shows us when we show up as our profile, we naturally build know, like, and trust with the people around us because we're natural. So as a line 1, I love to research things. You give me an interesting topic, and I can master that topic in a matter of days, to a degree. That is the gift of the line 1 profile. And then I can share that knowledge with the collective, giving everyone a solid foundation in order to build upon. And then through my experimentation, I can say, hey, this is what works, this is what doesn't work. I am designed to show the whole picture, not just the highlights, but the whole thing. And one of the biggest conditioning things that I had to overcome with that is the fear of judgment, because it's messy. Experimentation is messy. And I would get caught up in my head and feel embarrassed and judged. I would misspeak sometimes. Has anybody else felt like that? Or does anybody else ever heard of human design? Know your type, strategy, or your profile? Just curious. There are 12 different profiles, and each profile has a unique lens and a uniqueness that they are designed to share with the collective. And when we step into our profile, so many magical and wonderful things happen. So many shifts occur in our lives. The more that I have shared human design, the more that I've dug into this, the more that I've come to realize it is my purpose. It is my zone of genius. It comes so easy and natural to me. And the more that I have done this, the more relationships I've encountered, the more money I've made, just the more fluid and easier my experience has been. And next we have our definition. So I have a small split. What that means is all of these lower centers and these 2 upper centers, all of this energy wants to come to the throat to be expressed, to be manifest or made real. And we don't create anything without expressing it, without talking about it. When we do that, we come into our definition. So I naturally seek out practices and experiences, whether that's a person, place, or thing, that helps me bridge and connect my centers. You see these channels here that have partially colored in. So the things and the experiences that I seek out help me to connect these all together so that I have a complete channel, so that my energy can be expressed through the throat. And next, we have our incarnation cross. We are all born with a cross to bear. My incarnation cross is that of right angle rulership 4, and that's what the RAX means. And the reason that's important is because this is really geometry that we're talking about here. Right angle rulership 4. So as a right angle, that means that when I do that, when I step into that role, I am able to harness all of that energy from the collective, from the cosmos. Literally, the entire cosmos helps support us because the incarnation cross is our purpose. And when we're standing in our purpose, the first thing we're standing is the shadow of it. And it is through the inner shadow work that we uncover our gold, our light, by doing the inner alchemical work. And that helps us to move the shadows and integrate them. It's not about casting them out, it's not about killing them off. It is about integrating into our wholeness, into our completeness. And in that completeness, it is effortless for us to express our uniqueness. And what this incarnation cross means is that I am someone that is designed to be in a leadership position. Every job I've ever had and the people that I'm around, I naturally move in to some type of leadership. Now, it is very important here also to understand if I was operating from the shadows, it wouldn't make me a very good leader. That is why the integration and that time, that me time is so important, so that those shadows don't become unbalanced and overrule. And one of the most important things that I've discovered in my own incarnation cross is that I am designed to lead by example. I have to be the embodied leader in order to access the juiciness of my incarnation cross, of my purpose. And the more that I stand in my purpose, the thing that I've always asked, really the only thing that I've ever asked for myself, is for my perfect mate, my twin, wherever she is. That is the only thing that I've really ever asked for myself. I've asked for abundance and riches, but it wasn't for me. It was for the people I cared about, because I wanted to give it to them. And if you ask those that are closest to me, when I do have money and resources, I'm very generous with it. I'll give a stranger the shirt off my back if they were to ask me for it. And that is part of my incarnation cross. Part of the rulership 4 is being a steward of resources and deciding how those resources are used for the betterment of the whole tribe, not just the individual. And then we have our inner authority, which my inner authority is sacral. And like I was saying before, this is how we're designed to make decisions. I'm designed to make decisions from my gut. And then we have outer authority, which means with outer authority, we're designed to hear it. We have to talk. We need a sounding board so we can talk, and then we can hear our own authority, and we know which decision to make. And we have splenic authority. The authority from the spleen is very ancestral, very shamanic in a way. And the spleen is always right here in the now, very much like the solar plex. The difference between the two is the spleen, when you ask a question, you get that immediate answer. And with splenic authority, they can self-answer or ask self-questions. Whereas a generator or sacral authority, I need the question to come to me externally. That don't work if I ask it internally myself. I need it to come at me externally so then I can feel the response in my body and then take action from there. And that's just a couple of the examples. And then our strategy. How are we designed to navigate life? I'm designed to navigate life through response. Life literally comes to me like a whole buffet. Life is laid out completely before generators. And the generators just respond to the things that light them up and bring them a sense of satisfaction, which lead us to the theme. The theme for me as a generator is satisfaction versus frustration. When I'm feeling satisfied, that means I'm using my energy correctly and efficiently. And one of the biggest takeaways that I took from this is that satisfaction has to be there from the very beginning. It's not something that I have to work through and get at the end. That feeling of satisfaction is at the start and lasts all the way through. So if I'm not feeling satisfied with the experience, then there is something in there where I'm not using my energy correctly, and it creates frustration. And my friends, that is all the time I have for today. I hope you found this interesting and fascinating as I do. And if you have any questions, feel free, please do reach out. I'm happy to have a chat with you about your human design. Have a bright and beautiful, blessed night, my friends. I'll see you guys later. And as always, from my heart to yours, there is much love for us all. I'll see you guys later. Bye.